Trump will not accept a situation where Wall Street is allowed to run the economy. So far, I'm liking that decision. Now, we saw the inverse Jim Cramer also play out once again, with Jim Cramer calling for a 20% sell-off in the markets, which I'm going to say right now is not technically off the table. But today, if you just followed the opposite of what this guy said, the market is rallying again, up 3% on the day. Now it's only up 1%. Trading at 509.76, and I will tell you it broke below key support levels. We talked a little bit about it in Discord, and I said if we get a break under on the 4 hour under 515, which is this support up here, 515.40, then we will likely flush. And now we're down to 510. We came all the way down to 508.20. As far as support levels go, we are bouncing off of this descending resistance level, which is now descending support. Technical support, it's weak support. I'll talk about it in a second. We got a lot of stuff to cover in today's video. Make sure to watch until the end. We got a lot to do with GameStop in the center of this video, as well as AMC. So watch until the end. We got some interesting stuff. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn post notifications on if you don't have them on already. I will just like to briefly state as well to join my Discord server. It's the top link in the description. I normally don't put it at the beginning of the videos, but I think it is the most beneficial for yourself as well as me, because I get to talk to you guys day in and day out, and it's hard to answer all of the YouTube comments. Okay, 510.62, SPY is still green on the day, but what I can tell you and what you know already, this is a gap up on weak volume. This is a dead cat bounce for the overall market, for the S&P 500, and we are still seeing the fear and greed index still in extreme fear. The VIX getting a little bit of a cool off and then right back to bouncing right here, which just shows that the market is likely to go back into a downturn, back into a sell-off, and what I can tell you right now is by Friday, I expect the S&P 500 to break that level at 480 and come lower, probably down to sub 450, right? I would say 447 Friday, maybe after close, right? And that is the level I'm watching for the SPY. I still think it looks weak, and I still think we have some flushing to do, as well as we have some tariffs, I believe, coming actually into effect tomorrow, April 9th. Now, South Korea says it will not fight back against U.S. tariffs and seeks to negotiate a new trade deal. And then we also saw something a little bit odd. U.S. bans government personnel in China from romantic or sexual relations with Chinese citizens, which is very interesting, right? China's currency falls to the lowest level in 2 years, and they are not negotiating with the U.S. In fact, we are basically calling each other's bluff here in a trade war, and it's kind of hinting at possible world war, right? Or at least just a war with China. Plus, they also have all of these tensions with Taiwan as well, which I'm not going to get into all that. But let's talk a little bit about GameStop. Okay, so first things first, to cover the first quarter of the video, I think the S&P 500 will still sell off and will break key support levels that it recently bounced off of. Okay, we had a lot of volume on this daily candle with two large wicks. A large wick to the upside, small wick to the downside, shows indecision on a lot of volume. Then we got a dead cat bounce because people said, hey, well, we'll give it the benefit of the doubt. We're down about 21% from all-time highs, and there's an indecision candle, so we'll start buying up some stocks. But ultimately, I don't think that is the bottom for the markets. And again, as soon as we break under 503, if we get a close under 503, the SPY is going to get really, really ugly from there. Okay, let's move on to this. So Larry Chang and Ryan Cohen both increased their GameStop stake. We've talked about that. Well, we've seen Larry Chang come and increase his stake again following Ryan Cohen, and they have a cost basis difference of 1 cent. Just figured I'd throw that in there. We also have to talk about how Ryan Cohen moved his shares back into his personal name. Now, what's so interesting about this is Larry Chang obviously did the opposite of this. What is GameStop cooking? But I want to get down to the point that Ryan Cohen could be as simple as this, wanting to get out when, things hit the fan and the share price is above two grand, right? He could be very simply want an easy execution to sell his shares at an insane profit and be set for life. I mean, the guy already is set for life, but you get what I'm saying here. It makes it very easy when it's in your personal name to just let go of the stock. Now, we also see institutions continue to buy AMC. More institutions loading up April 8th. And I want to talk about that National Beer Day that just passed. Okay, 4 years ago, Roaring Kitty posted a video opening a Christmas present We saw also his cheers post, his last video, cheers everyone, on April 16th. So I'm not going to set yesterday as the date here, right? We have not found out what's in the box. We have not seen his wild card, and GameStop currently has over $6 billion in cash. Ryan Cohen bought more shares. GameStop is net profitable. We have a lot of stuff going on. Now, I just wanted to put this in the video because I actually didn't put it into perspective in this way, right? Imagine you were Roaring Kitty and you could have predicted a market crash. Everything is scripted. It's clearly scripted. Things are way too well predicted. Insiders have knowledge, right? Warren Buffett sold off on the most cash he's been sitting on, and next thing you know, the market's down 21%. It's all scripted. But imagine how much capital you could have if you knew it was coming, right? This is very interesting because what's going to happen is when we get his cheers post or his yellow post, is it April 16th or is it April 20th? It's going to be a lot. It's going to be probably insane, the amount of GameStop that he holds or something along the lines of that. Okay, jumping into GameStop's chart, we're at 23.49, down 3.29% on the day. I want to point out a few things here with GameStop. This pop right here, 21%. This pop back here, this first big green candle, about 20%. Okay, so I'm just saying that we could be in the scenario where we are right on the fence of squeezing, where we're trading on top of this descending parallel channel, and we got the first mega green candle, which looks like a very similar pattern. But also, you go back to 2021, this first green gap up 23%, all very similar outcomes. And the same goes with AMC. Bottom to peak right here, 20.5%. The recent one back in May, bottom to peak, 24%. You come back and you look at January, 20%, almost 21%. They're all pretty lined up to every single time we had large moves higher. And I'm just excited for the charts, to say the least, right? Also, coming down on the 4-hour time frame to this level, right around $23.40, I expect this to be a potential bottom, a temporary bottom on GameStop. If we don't hold this, watch 23 even. If we don't hold that, watch for a retrace back to this trend line, which right now I don't see happening, down to 21.40. The reason I don't see that happening is just because we are outside of this, and GameStop has held up very well against the market sell-off. Okay, so that's something to note. If we see major crash, major sell pressure, I don't think it will last long, because I have said it and I'll say it again. I don't think we're going to be bleeding off any later than April 11th. Yes, it's possible we could bleed off into April 20th if we have no catalyst. But again, I don't think dollar cost averaging at any of these levels, even if you bought at 30, even if you bought at 20, would matter if we get the squeeze that we're looking for. So your little cost basis isn't really going to matter. Now, the same goes for Bitcoin. If you come and you take a look, right, because AMC is giving off these January 12th, January 13th vibes, whatever. You come and you take a look at Bitcoin, the same thing. We are getting this hard retrace, right, before a potential super cycle or just a second top and everything squeezing. Is that going to happen? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, I didn't take a look at how different this is, but you can see right there, right? I didn't even plan that. Down 31%. We're down about 31%. Things could be on the verge of squeezing higher and ripping higher. And let's see from a technical standpoint. Obviously, this would be a little bit different because Bitcoin does have diminishing returns, and also this cycle would be likely a little bit different. We would see above 160K, right? Almost 170. That's if things play out the way they're setting up for. Now, I also want to state that if we come and we take a look, XRT has been back on the threshold securities list. If you don't know what this is a retail ETF that holds GameStop that is shorted over 300%. Some reports are showing 500%. Some reports are showing 900%, but the least that I've seen is 300%. So we'll stick with that, 350% or so. Right. So just something to keep in mind. If they want to cover at any point, they can run out of shares over here that they can short. They're obviously using this. They're using baskets to keep GameStop down. But at some point, it is all going to break, which leads me into this DTC test on April 12th, the DTCC test on April 12th, just to see if it had any merit. I was talking to ChatGPT, and we found that it does have a little bit of merit. If the market structure is fragile, which it has been proven to be in last squeezes, then the DTCC internal test combined with options pressure, low liquidity, and heavy sentiment could create a fertile ground for abnormal moves. Okay, that's something to note. So will we see something April 12th? No, because it's a weekend. But that's exactly why you're seeing a test on April 12th, because the markets aren't going to be moving. It'd be way too dangerous to do it on a weekday, at least for the time being, around what we could potentially see come next Monday, which is also lining up with several things that we said, right? Because if this is this first pop on every single time frame, every single scenario, then Monday, or if April 11th is the bottom, which is Friday, then Monday we should see a large move up. Again, this is all hypothetical, theoretical, a little bit of hopium, a little bit of tin, lots of speculation. But what we can see is that something is coming and it's close no matter what. So that's that. I also want to point this out as well. I almost forgot to throw it in the video. I don't know if you guys are, but I'd love to know. I've been getting these all yesterday, and even into the nighttime, even into overnight, and then even when overnight closed, I'm getting GameStop has. I have these alerts set on my Webull. GameStop price has risen rapidly, 4.5% up to XXX amount, whatever, right? I'm getting these all night and the markets close. I don't know what's happening. It's not necessarily some tin, it's just straight up happening. So if this is happening to you, let me know in the comments down below. Just a little bit odd. Also want to give you a squeeze play to watch. BKKT also on the threshold securities list with an 18.25% short interest. Moving on, we saw Treehouse Brewing Co. also post it's a good day for some fresh Luminosa squeeze. But what's important about this is I didn't really read into this, right? But this is the same cup that Roaring Kitty used for his cheers, I believe. So that's interesting as well. I mean, if you want to read into this, maybe there's some decoding that you can do in there. Last but not least, I just want to state that Apple staff reports rush of customers panic buying over the weekend. Apparently, Apple US store seeing sales bump due to pre-tariff shopping. Apparently, I just wanted to briefly touch on Apple because I think it's playing an interesting it's telling an interesting story because it broke below not only critical support, but it also filled the gap, but it also sold off further than this ascending trend line, and a historical one that it has held up since March of 2020. It has just broken below. Things are looking very bad for Apple, and there are a lot of catalysts for the market aside from tariffs that are actually making it crash, and real things that are making it crash, and real plans that will make it crash further. But I do think tariffs alone themselves are actually a potential issue for Apple. So this is an interesting blue chip to watch. I think the charts are telling an interesting story. But overall, guys, make sure to join my Discord server. It's the top link in the description. We're getting some new members in there. I'd love to have you guys. I'd love to get to 1,000 members in there. Most amazing people, best vibes. I post my trades as soon as I take them. We talk stocks, we talk crypto. It's time to level yourself up, guys, if you're not in there already. If you've never been in a Discord server, come try it out for a month, and I would have to personally make a bet that your trading journey gets a whole lot better very, very quickly. But no guarantees. Again, everything that you do is all your decision. I don't give financial advice, all that other stuff. And if you want a futures account that is funded and you can take profits out when you get past that 3K threshold, if you can trade, just use my link and you can press the link, get an account, a live account, use my code LOTTO to make sure you get the 50% off. Okay, make sure you get the 50% off. Don't pay full price for it. And this is a limited time. It was ultimately supposed to be April 11th, I believe the deadline was, but I think they're pushing it out for the entirety of April. And a lot of people are loving this platform. Get your free stocks, all this other stuff. These top 3 links, top 4 links, all very important. That is it, guys. I love you all. God bless. Lottery Stocks out.